Southeast governors agree to set up regional security outfit for more protection of citizens and property. And countdown to Ramadan, moon sighting criteria in focus. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us on Panorama. I'm Ruth Aguela. All right, let's begin with moon sighting. Sultan Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar has called on Muslims to look for the new moon of Ramadan this Monday, 12th of April 2021, which is the 29th day of Sha'aban, 1442 after Hijrah, and the first day to look for the new moon. A statement signed by the Chairman Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs, Sultanate Council, Sokoto, Professor Sambo Wali Junaidu, said the sighting should be reported to the nearest district or village head or through the following numbers on the screen for onward communication to the Sultan. Well, Muslims are expected to start observing Ramadan fast, hopefully this Tuesday. And to talk more on requirements for moon sighting, I have with me in the studio Dr. Musa Olaofe, Imam and Saruddin Central Mosque, Abuja. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
All right, now in less than 24 hours we'll be hearing Ramadan Kareem. But how is the crescent sighted?
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I will give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything we do in Islam has rules and regulations, and that is why the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when we are to start Ramadan, we have to sight the moon. And when we are to break the month of Ramadan, we have to sight for the moon too. And that's why it says, Sumu li ruhyatihi, waftiru li ruhyatihi, fa in gum alaykum al-hilal, fakmilu al-iddata sha'ban salathina yawman. You fast when the moon of Ramadan has been sighted. And you break your fast when the moon has been sighted too. And fa in gum alaykum al-hilal, if we are unable to see the cloud, if it is not clear, you make sure that you count the numbers of the month of Sha'ban. If it is 30, then the following day, then you start Ramadan. And that is why you can see uniquely that the Sultan has announced that we should keep on sighting for the moon. Even in Saudi Arabia, the searching for the moon has begun.
Okay.
And
but how is the credibility of those expected to sight the moon? What is the credibility?
Well, they have to, there's a committee for that.
Okay.
And they have been doing that.
So it's not anybody that can do it?
It is not anybody that can do it. Like now, the Supreme Court for Islamic Affairs, they have moon sighting committee, and they are working, you know, day to day to make sure that they did not mislead anybody, and they do it accurately. And that's why we have the Sultan of Sokoto there. He's really guiding all of us very right.
But people would like to know the level of knowledge of those who are members of that committee.
Well, they are knowledgeable because it is not the first time they have been doing it, and it's part of their job. Not only the month of Ramadan, every month's Islamic calendar, you see them that they will announce it. So that today is this, today is that, and tomorrow is what we're expecting. So they have been doing a very wonderful job, and we always appreciate them.
Okay, and there's usually this disparity on the moon sighting among Muslims around the world. How can this be harmonized?
Now, if you see Nigeria now, as a case study, there is no need, there is nothing like parity or the argument concerning the sighting of the moon. The Sultan of Sokoto that Allah has given to all of us in Nigeria is really doing a very good job in such a way that it carries everybody along. Either you are from the south or from the north or from the east, they are all in that committee working, you know, anti-clockwise to make sure that the accurate time for us to start the month of Ramadan is being carried out. And they are working, they are reporting back to Sultan. So by the time the moon has been sighted, normally you see the Sultan on screen explaining to the entire Muslim Ummah that we are fasting because the moon has been sighted. It can be sighted in Maiduguri, can be sighted in Sokoto, can be sighted in Southwest, can be sighted anywhere.
Okay,
once it has been sighted, they will report back, and then the Sultan is in the best position to explain to all of us.
Pardon me, I need clarity here now. You just stated there is a committee. Now you're saying it can be cited in any part of the country. What is the level of knowledge of any, that means any individual, a Muslim, can cite it anywhere across the country?
Yes.
So
once
what is the level of knowledge?
Once it's cited and they see it, they will report back to the committee.
Okay.
They will not be the one to announce. They will just inform the committee the moon has been sighted. And that is why we have the central, the people in central of this moon sighting, they will now be the one to inform our leader that the moon has been sighted.
So no, an ordinary individual is not permitted.
In fact, it's not the issue of this one is my malam, this one is my sheikh. You can tell us anything. No. That is why uniquely, collectively, we are working together under one umbrella. Okay. So that uniqueness of it all and the unity among the Muslim Ummah is what we are all fighting for on that very angle. And you see that the Sultan of Sokoto will announce.
Okay, so what is expected of Muslims once the moon is sighted? Then,
if the moon has been sighted, we have no any option. We have nothing to do than to commence the fasting of the month of Ramadan. So, and once that one is announced, then everybody will keep on fasting the month of Ramadan.
And what would you advise Muslims as probably Ramadan will begin tomorrow? What would you tell them on how to conduct themselves?
Well, we should know that this is annual event. It's a spiritual annual event that comes once in a year. We all knew what really happened last year, pandemic everywhere, that even people cannot even comport themselves. They cannot even, God is always in control. Yes. So, but this time around, it has leveled down. So please, we should use this opportunity to talk to ourselves. Unity of Nigeria, insecurity we are in, we should pray for it. And then we should pray for the people in authority because they are human beings.
Yes.
So let us advise them, let us pray for them, let us talk to them. Anywhere they go wrong, then we can bring them closer and let the word of Allah work with them. So we should see ourselves as one family. The Muslims should try all their, especially the clerics, the clergymen, they should preach and talk to people and pray for Nigeria. All right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Musa Olaofe. Thank you for your time with us. He's the Imam and Saruddin Central Mosque here in Abuja. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. And we want to bring you an update now. We hear the resident doctors suspended their strike yesterday, which lasted for 10 days. Our correspondent, Aisha Uba Ali, is live at National Hospital, I hear, to tell us the situation. Aisha, if you can hear me, what is the situation there at National Hospital here in Abuja?
Okay, thank you, Ruth. We are here at the National Hospital to monitor or look at the activities. If you recall, on the 28th of May, after the extraordinary meeting by the council, the National Association of Resident Doctors decided to go on strike, which lasted for 10 days, like you said. But we're here this morning to look at the activities, how the activities are able to pick up. Clinical services have picked up quite impressive, according to the doctors. But before we came here, we are just near the pediatrics unit where we can see patients all around at the unit. But before we came here, we were able to go to the accident and emergency unit where we spoke to one nurse off camera. She said this morning they just started admitting patients to the ward, which was not so during the strike. But to shed more light on the resumption activities here at the National Hospital, I have with me Dr. Tayo Hastrop, who is the spokesperson of the hospital. Mr. Tayo Hastrop, good morning, sir.
Morning. How are you?
Thanks for joining us on NTA.
Thank you very much.
What is the situation? How is the resumption? What are the activities?
Well, the Association of Resident Doctors National Hospital Branch, they have accepted the directives of the national body. They will resume back to work. And where we are now is the clinical areas where we have patients. Activities are really coming up again in the hospital. We already attend to patients both in the emergency. We also attend to patients in the trauma, and the clinical areas are full. We're admitting patients here now. By the time you go to the wards, you will see so many patients. We thank God that the negotiation has been done very well, and the national body of the ARD has called off this strike. Patients are happy, and everybody is happy now because we can now go into full complement of work here in the hospital. Patients who have been booked, and I've been calling to ask questions whether they should come or not. We told them that they can come to the hospital, that activity is going on very well in National Hospital as I speak to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Ruth, from what you heard, meaning that patients would not be turned back to go back home because doctors are now fully on ground to attend to patients. So it's back to you in the studio. We'll keep you posted.
All right. Thank you very much, Aisha Uba Ali there. And good news to know that the doctors are back to work. All right, let's look at insecurity and, of course, security. In view of the security challenges in the southeast, governors from the 5 states in the region have risen from their meeting in Owerri with a resolve to set up a joint security outfit codenamed Ebube Agu. Chairman of the Forum and Governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, says the move is to complement effort of the federal government in the fight against insecurity in the country. Bright Ebocho reports.
The security meeting brought together governors of the 5 southeast states and heads of security agencies in the region who are in Owerri to deliberate on security challenges facing the southeast with a view to finding lasting solutions to the series of attacks in the region. Briefing journalists after the meeting held behind closed doors, Chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, David Umahi, says the forum condemns the act of terrorism and banditry in any part of the country and the Southeast in particular, noting that he stands with the federal government in its fight against insecurity. They further condemn the violent attacks on Owerri Custodial Center and the Imo State Police Command, affirming that the political leaders in the region have resolved to work together to flush out criminals and terrorists from the zone.
The meeting condemns very highly the killings in all Southeast in the recent time and asks the federal government and security agencies to bring justice to the victims.
To forestall further security breaches, Governor Mahi says security agencies have been mandated to draw up a comprehensive list of their logistics needs for the attainment of success in the fight against criminality.
The meeting resolved to maintain a joint security vigilante, which already has been formed in the 5 southeast states for the southeast, and the joint security outfit to coordinate the activities of our vigilante in the 5 south states shall from today be known and called a Bubago Joint Security Outfit for Southeast.
While the meeting encourages peaceful coexistence, the members resolved to set up a committee to coordinate the implementation of the Southeast Joint Security Platform in Owerri. Bright Ebocho, NTA News.
Troops of Operation Lafia Dole have eliminated 7 Boko Haram terrorists along Ugom Mafa Road in Borno State. A statement by the Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Mohammed Yerima, says troops from Sector 1 Operation Lafia Dole were on picking operation when they spotted the terrorists in ambush position, waiting for troops and commuters plying the route. Several arms were recovered from the criminals that were forced to withdraw in disarray with injuries. Similarly, Army troops with support from the air component of Operation Lafia Dole thwarted Boko Haram terrorists' incursion into Damask Mobar local government area of Borno State. All right, let's go on a short break. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
Welcome back. The United Nations Second South-South Food Systems Summit, an exploratory dialogue 2021, is calling on participants to come up with practical solutions to end hunger and improve on food security in Nigeria. Paul Abel reports that this was at the flag-off of the summit held in Calabar.
World being ravaged by hunger and poverty, the United Nations Food System Summit, initiated by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, is to bring transformation through the realization of the 17-point SDGs in the Vision 2030 agenda. The approach is using 3 levels of dialogue, namely inception, exploratory, and consolidatory. Participants from Cross River, Akwa Ibom, and River States in this exploratory dialogue are to share initiatives, ideas, experiences, and views, while the host governor of Cross River State, Ben Ayade, charges organizers and stakeholders to translate paper presentations, technical sessions into tangible outcomes of food safety and sufficiency.
Concerted efforts are therefore needed for us to achieve food security, not only for the South-South region, but also for Nigeria and the world at large.
His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, believes in agriculture as the way of reducing poverty in the society.
The Nigeria National Food Service System dialogue will eventually enable the government to develop a plan of action to improve nutrition security, reduce hunger.
During the dialogue, discussions centered on qualitative food and access, policies, gender issues, nutrition, among others in the zone.
Agriculture is like life for Cross River State because people have to feed, people have to survive, because food security is the #1 agenda under the United Nations Charter.
At this exploratory level, 12 of these dialogues are also taking place in different zones of the country, while the consolidatory dialogue is expected to hold in May 2021. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NJ News.
Nigeria in the last decade has been faced with threats from simple farmers' herders conflicts to cattle rustling, kidnapping, ethnic conflicts, and Boko Haram heightened terrorism. So as the federal government seeks to find a lasting solution to the problem, one of Nigeria's foremost scholars, Professor Saka Nuru, takes a look at how the federal government can initiate an appropriate measure to bring peace to the citizens. Anthony Forson has more for us.
The problem of farmers' herders conflict is not new to the government of Nigeria. Reasons for this escalation have been well thought out, and attempts to resolve it still a mirage.
In Africa, things are different. The Maasais are the producers of livestock in Kenya. The Fullers are the producers of livestock in Sierra Leone. Here in Nigeria, it is either the Shoa Arabs or the Fulanis. Those are but they are not meant to be that. It's not meant to be that. It is a commercial enterprise, and anybody can go into it. You and me can go into it. I can tell you that today, if you practice some of the technologies we have developed in Nigeria, you will be able to earn at least 400,000 naira every 3 months.
Nigeria, with a land area of more than 930 square kilometers, more than 390 square kilometers is used for crops and animal husbandry. However, the acquisition of land and the Land Use Act by government created a conflict in centuries.
They were recognized as society by the local government, by the state government, and the federal government. So they were on the move when suddenly the regime came to a stop and the whole thing collapsed. I think we shouldn't let it go. We should revive it.
This old practice having been supported by the federal government in introducing grazing reserves for optimal purpose. There was the establishment of Fulani Establishment Scheme in the 60s and 70s. There was also what was called water tapkis to guarantee water for the animals, but given its cost implication, it was abandoned. Introduced to encourage sedentarization of nomadic and semi-nomadic people. The World Bank in this instance played a major role. This age-long practice and government intervention, what is the way forward for Nigeria to contain the current insecurity occasioned by what is today farmers' herders crisis that is threatening Nigeria's security and corporate existence? Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The International Monetary Fund has launched a new climate change indicators dashboard in an international statistical initiative to address the growing need for data in macroeconomic and financial policy analysis to facilitate climate change mitigation and adaptation. Onenge Fineface reports.
International Monetary Fund Climate Change Dashboard is a single platform that brings together experimental climate change indicators, which allows comparison across countries. The indicators were developed in cooperation with international organizations and agencies, including the World Bank, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, among others. The dashboard covers greenhouse gas emissions from economic activity, trade in environmental goods, green finance, government policies, and physical and transition risks.
This dashboard is an agile statistical response to the growing needs of climate-related data use in policy analysis and surveillance. As you know, climate change is a critical macroeconomic challenge that requires fiscal, financial, and structural policy response.
IMF says to develop the right measures to tackle climate change, governments need robust and comparable data. The new dashboard will therefore help fill data gaps so policymakers can undertake the macroeconomic and financial analysis that underpins effective policies. The indicators are grouped into 4 categories: economic activity and climate, cross-border, financial, physical, and transition risks, and government policy indicators. Onengie Fineface, NTA News.
Today is International Day for Street Children, which is meant to recognize the humanity, dignity and defiance of street children in the face of unimaginable hardships. International Day for Street Children, Louder Together, was launched on 12th April 2011 to give a louder voice to the millions of street children all around the world so their rights cannot be ignored. Nearly all countries except the United States have signed and ratified the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child and have a legal obligation to work towards ensuring that all children's rights are integrated into national law. It is universally recognized that all children should have these rights realized. However, many government policies and practices still do not include street children. The pandemic has highlighted how street-connected children are too often excluded from accessing essential services such as healthcare, education, and access to justice. And next, the sports update, and Tamara Biwe will guide us.
The minister, while watching wrestling, described events so far, refereeing and athletes' performance as encouraging, says federal and Edo state governments are partners. Forthcoming Olympics, he noted Nigeria is on course.
You can see that we settled for 11 different sports. And even from here, we can see track and fields. Records are being broken. We see new people that have qualified. This is what we expected from this sports festival. And that's why we called it Nigerian Olympics.
Adegoke Enoch, of Edo State.
Nigeria's fastest man, Enoch Adegoke, relishes his victory at the National Sports Festival, sets his eyes on Olympic qualifiers.
It feels great. The victory wasn't easy, so I had to be very happy for the victory.
400 meters women's hurdles champion Abasiono Akpan hopes to improve. She says her coach was a motivation.
My next step now is for me to go back again and join it together with my coach and do some certain things I need to do, correct my mistakes, and get ready for another one.
Chidi Okeze of Team Delta ran the personal best and set a new record of 45.50 seconds to win the 800 meters men's final. In swimming, Team Bayelsa loses 6 medals as the main organizing committee disqualifies swimmer Dino Ebrakumo following petition against him. In traditional sports, Langa, finalists have emerged. Bauchi won gold in Langa Kawoshi. Delta has emerged as the overall winner in Langa with 2 gold medals in Ruwa and Tureshi. In a related development, Edo State has emerged 3rd best in the handball event after beating Borno 34-32.
But 32, a good opportunity and a good goal. Edo State again.
It's one that has produced surprises. It's one that has shown that the fitter team will always win. And it's one that has shown that there's a limit to which experience can actually carry you.
That's Edo 2020 Sports Update. I am Tamara Ibiwe.
All right, and that's Panorama. Thank you for your time with us. But let's keep up on the fight against rape and rapists. NTA is there for you. I'm Ruth Aguela. Bye.